Hey everybody, it's Mark from Mark's Garage. Welcome back to the channel, and I have got a great episode coming up today. But first things first, I need to introduce y'all to the new project car. This is my 1965 Ford Thunderbird Landau, and she is mint. This is the lap of absolute 1960s luxury. Factory air conditioning, factory power disc brakes. It's got all sorts of bells and whistles. Factory power seats. Look at that seat wrap around in the back there. It is pretty mint if you ask me. Power windows. And just look at that front end. Oh yeah. So couldn't quite figure out why I had been parked for so long until I got it running, and I discovered that it likes to eat push rods. So I found 7 bent push rods in this engine, and I thought maybe it was from a stuck valve here and there. So I checked everything and ran some snake oil through it to see if I could free things up, put new push rods in it, and it just bent them again. So today we are going to pull the engine out. This is a 390 FE big block. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with a 390. Very versatile engine. So we're going to tear it apart, clean it up. We're going to get it sent off to the machine shop for some work. And when we get that block back, I'm going to have one heck of a surprise for everybody. This is going to be one mean street machine. So stay tuned. First thing we got to do is get rid of all the extra junk on top of this motor, and that'll give us some room to get it out of here. So let's get after it. All right, so first things first is we got to get the engine ready to come out of the car, which means removing all of this junk, wires, hoses, all this stuff on top. We got to pull the carburetor off, and we're going to pull the radiator out. I'm going to do the radiator first, transmission cooler lines, and that'll give us room to move the engine forward as we pull it out. So let's get rolling. Alright, so radiator's been removed, fan and fan clutch assembly along with all the belts off the front of the engine. Pulled the carburetor off. That's where our lift plate is going to be installed. Still got a couple of miscellaneous things to do. I got to pull off these export braces on either side to give us a little bit of extra room. Throttle linkage assembly's got to come off with these 2 bolts on the back of the intake manifold. Got a couple of lines on the back of the power steering pump that have to come out. Just some miscellaneous hoses like this heater hose here, vacuum lines, things of that nature. And then we should be ready to go ahead and get under the car and disconnect the mounts and the bell housing bolts and get the crane hooked up and get this thing pulled out. So stay tuned, and we're almost there. First ever Mark's Garage tech tip. On an FE engine, you have to remove the rocker arms and the push rods before you can remove the intake manifold. So I have got my assistant here. He's going to remove the rocker arms. Let's pull this bolt out right here, buddy. Next one. Go do the other side. Carry that over to the bench?
Yep.
Thank you. Got it.
Now that's how you do it.
Yeah. Got another tech tip for everybody. So in the early mid-60s, Ford marked most of their FE engines with the same displacement number. You can find that displacement number right here on the front of the block, right above the fuel pump. Alright, so this one says 352, just like most of them do. Didn't matter what the displacement was. It could have been 352, 360, 390, or even some of the 427s were all marked 352. You can also find that displacement number on the back of the block. Here, it's inverted, and it's right above the crankshaft. So the only real way to know what the true displacement is to measure the bore, or the diameter of the cylinder wall, and the stroke, or how far the piston travels up and down inside the cylinder wall. If this is a 352, it will have a 3.5 stroke, 3.5 inches. And if it is a 390, it will have a 3.78 inch stroke. So follow along and we're going to figure out exactly what the displacement is on this engine. Okay, so I've already got the cylinder all the way to the bottom of its stroke. So I'm going to insert my stick. I'm going to come down to the bottom underneath here, and I'm going to mark it right at the top of the cylinder wall. Okay, just a little blue pen mark on there. Now, I'm going to bring the cylinder up with a ratchet on the crankshaft to the very top of its stroke. If I can get it to move. Come on. There she goes. Almost lost the camera. and it is completely even with the top of the block. So I don't actually even need to make another mark on this. I need to just go ahead and measure it and see what we've got. Alright, so like I was saying, a 352 will have a 3.5 and a 390 will have a 3.78. This is just over 3.75 or 3 3/4 of an inch. So this is in fact 390 engine. Last thing we need to do is pull the harmonic balancer off, pull the timing cover, remove all the valve train, flip it over. We're going to pull the pistons and rods out of it, and then it's ready to go to the machine shop. Alright, so we got the engine tore down, got the block off the machine shop, saved a whole bunch of pieces. I wanted to show you just how bad this really was, because it was way worse than I thought it was going to be. So check this out. So these are our main cap bearings. They should be silver. So all of the bearing material has been worn off. Surprised it didn't knock as bad as it should have. Same thing happened with the rod bearings themselves. I mean, there's a wear groove in here so bad I can get my fingernail on it. On the consistency factor, it was still bent in push rod, so at least I had that going for me. For the pistons themselves, just covered in carbon. All the piston rings were stuck. A few of them actually came out in pieces, so they probably weren't sealing as good as they could have been. A bunch of lifters were just either stuck or collapsed. This one actually came out in a couple different pieces. All my valves look either burnt or just corroded to the point where they really need a good replacement. So probably going to put oversized valves in here. Once I figure out what size I'm going to go with, we'll go ahead and change those out. On this head, cylinder head gasket was gone. You can see this discoloration here where the exhaust gases were intermingling between the combustion chambers, having a little dance party in there. So Yeah. Way worse than I thought it was going to be. So it's all right. It's all getting replaced. We're going to replace pretty much everything in the engine, including the rotating assembly, and it's going to be one awesome motor. So stay tuned for that. Next video is probably going to be the engine compartment. Going to go ahead and get that cleaned up because it's nasty. Probably should have bought stock and engine degreaser for that one. And we're going to get that sanded down. We're going to prep it for paint, get it painted, do some wiring, probably some vacuum hoses and such in there. So that should be a pretty good video. I hope you liked this one. So if you did, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel out. And yeah, thanks for watching. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye.